Gio coming at you with a really special podcast for you guys. This is Troy Hutchcraft on the screen right there. That gentleman is responsible for helping to get me to the 21st century with the spreadsheet. He created this amazing spreadsheet. Sorry, one of my phones is blowing up, guys. He created this amazing spreadsheet that shows me how much premium we've collected, the whole enchilada. We'll get into that later. But as you guys know, I'm the wheel deal. I sell puts, I sell calls for a living, and I collect a shit ton of premium. He's actually the gentleman that created the little brand as well, the little logo. All him. So anything cool on the channel, guys, this is what y'all need to know for sure. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So like I had this cool thumbnail. People were commenting on the thumbnail. That was a buddy named Logan, college kid. Gave him 25 bucks. He edited the video. First time I've ever had anything edited on the channel, because I had major malfunctions with the Zoom that we did. And then spreadsheets or anything that looked professional, trust me, somebody else did it, not me, because that's just not how I roll. I sell puts and I sell calls for a living. That is my gift. And I can stick with the stock until I manufacture a win. But anyway, without further ado, here's Troy Hutchcraft. Tell me a little bit about yourself, my man, how you got exposed to the channel, the little Wheel Deal channel, and tell me about your passion with investing. Talk about SoFi. I know you're a huge SoFi bull. You've shared your position with me. Much better cost basis than I have on SoFi. I'm envious. So talk to me, Troy, to introduce yourself to the people here at the Wheel Deals Trading Journal.
Okay, TJ. Well, thanks for having me. It's good to be on your channel. So I guess I started investing a long time ago, mainly around retirement funds. That's where all my money was going. Well, as of the last couple of years, as money got freed up, I got interested in trying to do some other more investing trading. So I got into SoFi early on, got out, got back in as of late, have been heavy in SoFi. I know I watched a video of yours on another channel. That's where I first seen you. Yeah, on Amit. Yep, he was talking to you about SoFi, so that's what drew me originally to your channel. And then I had I didn't really trade a lot of options, but I'd kind of followed it, started to learn about how it works. And then whenever I started watching your channel, I definitely started seeing the selling the puts, selling the calls, got me interested. So I've been doing that as of probably December is really when I started it. Wow. Going well. I enjoy it. It's something that keeps you active, something that gives me interest in looking every day to see what's going on, because that's something that at any point you could need to trade. I actually I texted you the other day that I rolled my first contract ever, and then I did another one today. So it's beneficial. Your channel, specifically what I've liked about your channel is the honesty. I've messaged or I've commented on many of your videos telling you that I've watched other channels and I feel like some of it is fluff and fake. And with your channel, you spoke about sincere stuff that's happened in your life, mistakes that you've made. So that's really what has drawn.
Every day mistakes.
So that's definitely what drew me to your channel, because I feel like it's an honest channel that I can learn good information from.
For sure. So you've been investing for a while. Tell people a little bit about your background. How did you get so nerdy with the spreadsheets? It's because you're a CFO, correct?
Yeah. So really the Excel background comes from, I had 16 years in supply chain. So dealing with a lot of inventory, ran multiple warehouses and set up some warehouses. So there we're dealing with a lot of data. So it was a requirement to be able to maneuver the data and look at it. And Excel, I've used it for a long time. So I've gotten used to it. So when I seen your Excel, I definitely offered up some of my services to help you out.
How much did you laugh whenever I'm sitting there? And I'm proud of my Excel, dude. You could ask my fiance if you ever talked to her one day. I worked on this damn thing for months to get it to where I could present it to the world.
Yeah, I remember the video where you showed that, at least the first time I seen it, and I was looking through it I was lost. I didn't know what was going on. So I felt like I needed something. I'd already started kind of working on something for myself, and that's why I offered up. Maybe I could maybe you could provide some input. I mean, that's really the goal. I feel like with this is I've given it to you, you kind of test it out, I'm testing it out. You've already made, there's probably been 3 or 4 changes that we've made to this file that you've used. And I think that as we get those things worked out, then we'll have a good working Excel file for tracking options, selling calls, selling puts.
For sure, because I told you that I wanted to show people how much money we're collecting on a monthly basis. So you broke it all down, and we'll get into it here in just a second. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal tool. I've been using it now for a couple of weeks, and it's actually become part of the trade, Troy. Like I literally will sell a put, sell a call, and it's almost like as soon as I'm done with the brokerage platform, whether it's Robinhood or Webull, whatever the case may be, I'll immediately go onto the spreadsheet and update it. And it's really cool when I see the wheel profit, because
Right.
then I know where I stand at all times. I mean, you color code it. I mean, you made it foolproof, and maybe we can even show them the one where you did where I keep track of the open trades. The I don't know what we call that one. I can look and maybe email that to you as well, because
Yeah.
it's just phenomenal what you've been able to do. But I'm real cheap, guys. I only have the 40-minute version of Zoom, so let's get into this thing. You want to pull up the spreadsheet, Troy, and kind of talk. We'll talk everybody through it and show them everything that it does, because this thing is just absolutely amazing, guys.
Okay. Can you see it, TJ?
Yeah, I can. If you want to go on summary, let's walk them through the macros, and then we'll go through the micros. So
Okay.
right there, guys, you'll see the month on the very top. You'll see all of the tickers, the stocks that we trade. And then for January, that's all the premium that we've collected. That's net premium, correct, Troy?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Each tab is a specific stock, and it pulls the data in, and it sums each month. So as you go throughout the year, you're going to be able to see what you did each specific month, and then a total there towards the bottom.
Awesome. So just walk us through it, Troy. Talk me through your brain. Tell me what exactly were you thinking when you configured this thing? Because it makes so much sense to me. But I obviously trade the wheel for a living. But I feel like if you show this to anybody, they could just read it like any other accounting instrument. So walk me through it, man. Everything you can tell me about this particular sheet right here.
Well, the individual tab is where I started. That's what I had built that I sent to you. You had came back and said that you needed a way to show your investors monthly breakdowns of what you've done for premiums that you've collected. So that's what I built here. All this data really is pointed back to the individual tabs. So it's pulling it there. It's live. You can see the shares that you have that you've purchased, the acquisition costs for those shares, the market value, your open P&L and cost basis. And then we color coded the adjusted cost basis so that it automatically changes color based on if you are below or above your cost basis. So it's just really what we wanted to do is a zoomed out picture so that you can actively see where you're winning and where you need to do some work. The other thing that you're not seeing lit up here, I believe we did, is you said it's important for you to know that if you don't have all of your shares on contract. So I'll make a change here. So if we say that you only had 25 contracts for the stock, it lights up to let you know that, hey, you can do some work. Yep.
I got squatters. I don't like squatters.
Yeah. So we can see the open calls contracts that you have active, and we can also see the open puts. And as you change that detail on the individual tab, this whole sheet will automatically update and it stays active.
Awesome. So this is obviously everybody knows that I'm a huge SoFi bull. So go ahead and open up the SoFi tab, Troy, and let's show them how because essentially I had to create a fake trade, if you will, to bring all the data from 2021 and 2022 and bring that current. And that's exactly what we did there, right? You essentially said, I picked up the 15,400 shares. Robinhood gives you that info. We all know that that's $6.12. So it brings me to the invested value, or the acquisition cost is $94,248. But walk them through these other cells. What is the open, the action, the expiration, the date, etc.?
Yeah, so there's really three sections of this sheet that we built. Of course, you want to know the stock information of what you've bought, and if you end up selling, we need to keep track of that. And then you want to keep track of the individual trades. This is more just for looking back, seeing what you've done, seeing where you were successful, right? But ultimately, all that ties to this top portion, and realistically, this is the important stuff. This is summarizing everything you've done below. It's going to tell you your adjusted cost basis, so you know where to make or what level you should make it your next trade. And then it shows the shares owned, the open contract. A lot of this stuff we've seen on that first page, but it just gives you a more detailed view of your profits and your open contracts.
So what is the difference between, so the current price is the current share price?
Yes, which is linked to the
adjusted cost basis.
Yeah, so the current share price is linked in Excel. So every time you open this document, it's going to go search and pull the most current share price. Mm-hmm. And then your cost basis is based on what you paid for the shares. So you're going to see that the 612 matches the 612 here. And then the adjusted cost basis takes in consideration your profit that you've done from your wheel of selling puts and calls, and shows now that you've been able to lower, at least on the SoFi, you've lowered your per share cost basis 10 cents.
So essentially, guys, in layman's terms, he's taking the 94,248, subtracting the 1568 from it, taking that coefficient and dividing it by the total number of shares, and that gives you the adjusted cost basis in a nutshell. Correct, Troy?
Yes.
Perfect. So this game is all about credits and debits, but it's really important for me to be able to look at this because you can see where you went right, but you can also see where you went wrong. And I do love the way that if you want to talk about this section right here under the logo, how it tells you how much money you got for selling the put or the call, and also how much money you gave back, and that gives you the profit or because the way that you set it up is you have to close out that covered call, so you have to show the big negative, and then you have to show, because essentially when you're rolling, you're buying to close one position while simultaneously opening up another position. You can kind of get lost in the sauce, and I like the way that you make me basically be accountable for the fact that I did blow it on the initial covered call, and it shows that huge loss right there, but I was able to recover by selling the additional covered call.
Yeah, and one other thing to point out, anything that's color coded is a formula. So you don't have to input this days held, you don't have to input the invested or the original credit received. All that's going to be calculated based on this information that you input. There's a drop-down menu of what your action was, and the same thing for the status. Right. So if it's open, that's going to signal for it to be populated up here. If it's closed, it will automatically remove. And then the other thing that we added was expired and rolled. So to me, if this expires, I put that in there. If it's rolled, if I know that I rolled it and I didn't just close it and move on to a different trade, I put rolled. I'll put in the date that it was closed or rolled, the cost per share, and then if there's a fee involved, and then it'll automatically calculate the profit. Then if I decided that it was a roll, you should then come down here and have another open trade at the bottom. So ultimately, the close, the expired, the roll, it's all going to equal the same profit, but it's a way for you to look back and say that I'm rolling too often or not enough, or this time frame or this dollar amount I end up rolling more often. It's just more for you to try to learn from past trades so you know how to make a better trade in the future.
Absolutely, man. This thing is so handy because and also what I like, obviously, because this is our account, right? What I like is I can look at it and I'm like, okay, I got $6,314 in premium to look forward to potentially in April. So it kind of lets me know like how the hamster wheel's looking as far as when it's going to be able to churn out some more income. But the other thing is, if you want to go back to the summary page real quick, the thing that really helps me the most as an investor and somebody who trades the wheel for a very handsome living is the color coding is so crucial for me because I can look at it and right away my eye's gonna see Clover needs some attention. IDEX needs some attention. And then I can see, okay, do I have open puts? Am I strangling this position? Like what's going on with it? And the ones that I'm winning substantially, like look at Marathon. I mean, it's crazy. Look at Meta. And it lets me know whether or not I'm still active in those positions because essentially if I'm strangling a stock, I should have my shares, I should have my open calls and open puts all simultaneously. And that's when I'm strangling. It doesn't even matter if the stock goes up, down, or sideways. I literally just need time to run off the clock and I'm winning on the put and I'm winning on the call. There's no share price action. And that's what I like about this spreadsheet that you created, Troy, is it really is a very useful tool for me because I could just glance at it as opposed to like thumbing through the damn portfolio all the time.
Right.
Because the numbers aren't really moving here. And a lot of times whenever you're on, especially when you're dealing with the amount of monies that I deal with on a daily basis, guys, you could feel the pressure of the game. You could feel the pressure of the game, guys, if you see a stock that's down 30, 40, 50, $100,000 for the day or up, it could kind of like sway you a little bit. And here you're just able to focus on it for what it is. And it just, man, I cannot thank you enough, Troy. It's been an absolutely invaluable tool for me. So
Well,
let's talk about our winners. So we got SoFi is the one that we're working on. Not a win. I think it's going to be a huge win. But right off the gate, it looks like Riot is doing pretty well. Let's click on that one and let's see how that one's looking. So walk them through that. Troy, what do you see on there? Like, how would you read that for someone if they ever want to get the template and they start filling in their information? How would they read it? Just like take them through the entire thing.
well, there's really two ways to start. You can either start on the option side or the stock side. It's just going to depend on your scenario. If you already have stock, then of course you're going to start on the stock side. And I assume your next step would be to sell a covered call. So you come over here. If you do not have stock, this area would be blank. You would start with your first transaction being selling a put. Most of this stuff up top is going to be blanked out for now until you enter in some data, and then it's going to go from left to right and right to left. So as you sell a put, if you get assigned those shares, you're going to come over to the right side and you're going to input that information, the date, the amount of shares, the cost, and then it's going to calculate it for you. And then you go back to the left under the option and enter in a call, a sold call.
So reading the top portion of it, which is the crux, right? This is the meat and potatoes of your spreadsheet. How would you, if you had to explain my position in Riot, so people can see how effective and user-friendly this tool really is, how would you be able to explain people, am I winning in this position right now, according to you, considering this is the tool that you created?
Yeah, so I feel like and maybe we need to color code this different, but to me, this adjusted cost basis, I mean, that's telling you the whole picture right there. When you compare that to the current price, you've managed through selling calls and puts to get your cost basis down to $3.90 when the shares now are at $6.41. So most definitely a successful trade. And then on the right side, some more of that information just showing that you've got wheel profit and you've got open P&L profit.
So I'm winning on the actual acquisition. I'm winning on the share price appreciation because U5 to me, that's share price appreciation, or T5, whatever that is. So I'm winning on, I bought the shares for 93.1 and they're currently worth about 96.150, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then between all the puts and calls I've sold over the last 15 or 16 months, however long I've had this particular portfolio open, I've generated a net premium of 34,000 583. So we could take that number and add it to the 3,000. So that would be a total of 37,583, only of which 3,000 is unrealized because I haven't taken those shares to the pay window, correct?
Correct, yes.
How do you feel about that trade? Pretty good? Did I do okay?
Yeah, I think that's some of the reason that I follow your channel, to find some more of those.
That, you should follow my Riot journey. I have made videos on Riot. She's been a pain in my ass, Troy.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it a little bit.
I bought Riot at $20, guys. At 20, and you know what? I thought it was a good deal at 20. Because I'm one of those crazy people that thinks Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000 a coin, and I don't even know what the fuck Bitcoin is. I'm just like in actuality, but I'm like, dude, there's so many people that are drinking the hopium. They're on the ether, the whole nine. They're just amped up about Bitcoin. And there's a lot of big money that's getting into it. I just feel like there's no stopping it. Have you ever looked to see how much money you'd have in Bitcoin if you would have put like $10,000 when it first started?
Yeah, it's
the best
crazy.
Investment of our lifetime, and nobody knows what it really is. I know there's a lot of nerds on YouTube that act like they know, but bro, they don't know. They might be lying to themselves, and that's cool. That's dangerous. But you're not gonna lie to me.
Right.
You don't know the fucking first thing about it. Nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. None of that crap. But I'm one of those people that I don't have to understand it to be okay making money with it. That's why I probably wouldn't do well on SoFi Weekly, because I don't know enough about SoFi to contribute to that conversation. I can show those guys how to sell a bunch of puts and calls and make a shitload of money. If they want to talk about that, I'd be good for the channel. But if you want to sit there and have me try to talk about Galileo and Technicis, bro, I'm not your guy.
Right.
I don't have to understand something in its entirety to make money at it. I heard when I was 5 years old. I grew up on a ranch. And I had this thing for wanting to be right. And Don Stewart, never forget the man. May he rest in peace. He said, Javi, because they called me Javi back then. My real name's Javier. TJ is short for my last name, Tijerina. So that's how that happens, by the way. He says, Javi, in life, you're going to have to pick one day whether or not you want to be right or whether or not you want to be rich. Because oftentimes you can't do both of those things simultaneously. And I was 5 years old. I didn't know what simultaneously meant. So he could tell that I was a deer in headlights. And he says, you need to pick a side. If you could only be one, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? What do you think 5-year-old Javi said?
Rich.
Exactly. Because I can't pay bills with being right. So I got to figure out what I got to do to try to eventually get rich. And if you really want to kill the game, you got to figure out how to get wealthy, right? That's the name of the game, and that's what I'm striving for. Rich is one thing. Do you hear of all these great basketball players that are broke 3 years after they retire from the NBA?
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how to generate wealth, how to have money work for me, because one day I won't be able to work for money. And that's the reality of it. So anyway, Riot's been good, guys, but it was a struggle. And the reason that I wanted to bring that one up, Troy, is because what are some things that I say on the channel on a regular basis? Have you ever heard me say manufacture a win?
Oh yeah, every video.
I have manufactured a win on Riot. It used to be blockchain, now it's a platform. I didn't give up on it. I believed in the power of my conviction. I did all the research on the company, and I'm like, okay, y'all have been diluting shareholders. I'm not a real fan of that, but I'm going to dabble in this $20 range because I was thinking what the market was giving me. That's where it was trading. So I can't sell puts at $3. Nobody's going to dance with me. You need a dance partner. You want to sell puts, there has to be somebody on the other side of that equation. I don't know if people ever think about that or not. That's why they have this thing called open interest and volume. That's what that is. It's how many people want to go to that party and make a contract, and they want to conduct business. So I was selling puts at $20, selling puts at $17.50, $15. Eventually, I knew that it was going to level off, And I also knew that one day it was going to see 20, 30, $40 again. I just don't know when. But am I just going to sit around and wait for it to come to my wheelhouse? Or if I'm determined to own these shares and beat it down by selling puts and calls and collecting premium, I mean, there's never a better time than now to get started. That's why I have a lot of people that I listen to and I watch on YouTube, and they're really enamored with Tesla at 65 bucks.
Hey, TJ, I'm getting a notification that we got a minute left before it's going to end the meeting. So I just want to say thank you for your channel. I've enjoyed watching it, and I'm glad that I've been able to help you out a little bit.
For sure, my man, and we'll definitely reconvene at a later time. But anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoy it. We'll make this template available as soon as we can. This is TJ, the Wheel Deal, signing off as always. May your skies stay blue and your stocks green. Peace out. God bless you guys.